All right, welcome back, everybody. 560 WQAM. Tobin and Leroy here with you. Very excited to talk to our next guest. He is going to be in the co-main event at UFC 314 on April 12th at the Heat's House, the Kaseya Center, coming on up against Paddy Pimblett. We talked to Paddy yesterday, and now we get the opportunity to talk to this man right here, Iron Michael Chandler, joining us here on the show. He's done a lot of his training in South Florida throughout his career. So, Michael, thanks for the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump down there to Miami from where I am here in Deerfield Beach. So it'll be a nice little travel day.
It is. And I imagine that's that. With how many guys train down here, has this become a sneaky popular card to now get on annually, Michael? Because nobody has to, go away from home base.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, the main attraction was when I actually sat at the Miami card last year and realized the fandom and how big the card was and how loud it was and how fun it was. It was just Miami's a great spot to fight, and that's why the UFC keeps coming back every year. So now here I am on the card, and I look to steal the show as I always do.
He has a special place in my heart too, Leroy, because I remember the Michael Chandler cards at Bellator at the old Hard Rock Live with Hector Lombard and those guys, and they were the only MMA card coming because UFC they had blacklisted South Florida for a while. So it is great to see it now back as a hotbed, and you get to have another moment down here.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I mean, yeah, I've only fought in South Florida one time, and it was when I beat Eddie in 2011, Eddie Alvarez. So I'm undefeated in Florida. I do my training in Florida. It's kind of like my second home. I have a home down here, so home field advantage for the boy from down here in Florida.
Is that a real convenient thing? Because a lot of people talk about playing games at home versus travel or whatever. But in the fight game, you usually go 10, 15 days early anyway to get acclimated. So is there as much of a advantage of being able to be in your own house and being at home and kind of continue your training regimen and not have to adjust for where you have to do it or how you have to do it?
Yeah, it's a good question because I've actually really never done it. Last time I fought in Florida, I was training in Vegas.
Okay.
So I mean, technically, this is my first time kind of actually fighting in the place that I actually live. So, I mean, I've flown all the way across the world to Abu Dhabi twice. Which the crazy thing is, I have not fought in Vegas. This is my sixth or seventh fight in the UFC. Talking to Hunter Campbell the other day when we booked this thing, I was like, dude, I have to fight in Vegas. I'm excited about Miami, but dude, how have I not fought in Vegas yet? But it's definitely easy. You think about a guy like Paddy who's got to fly from all the way across the pond. Our main event, Volkanovski coming from Australia. These are big flights. You got to come a week or two in advance. Man, I'm just gonna hop in a vehicle and drive an hour and be in the hotel, the host hotel here, a few days before the fight. And it's gonna be nice, easy and convenient.
So we were talking to Patty this week about your matchup, and he's very cocky, Michael. He thinks that a lot of the top of the lightweight division is on the way out, that you guys are all now over the hill. And he thinks he's the young lion who's ready to steamroll through everybody. What do you make of him as an opponent? Do you feel like this is the time where you expose Petty? Because a lot of people think this is way too big a leap up in competition for him facing you.
Yeah, I mean, only he knows whether he's a lion or not. Is he young? Yes. But is he a lion? He definitely has not proven that yet. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Just because he hasn't been battle tested yet by any top competition doesn't mean that he's not a lion. But I got a sneaky suspicion he wouldn't be able to hang with the dudes like me, the Poiriers, the Gaethjes, the Oliveras, these guys who you literally have to kill to get outside of the octagon. So, we'll see. It remains to be seen. All I know is I've fought the top contenders. I've had an opportunity to fight for the title, become the number one contender. I've had these great opportunities, and this is the life cycle of a fighter where it's like, hey, I need to plant my flag in the middle of the UFC octagon and say, hey, I am still here. You're outside the top 10 for a reason, and I'm inside the top 10 for a very special reason. And I'm going to go out there, and I believe I'm going to starch him. But, it remains to be seen, man. I'm just excited to compete. I believe in myself. I believe in my abilities. And as I've said before, Paddy's got a great brand. People like him. He's popular for a reason. I got nothing against the guy, but it's definitely not going to stop me from trying to separate him from consciousness right in the middle of the Kaseya Center in Miami.
How difficult is it to fight, say, go from a guy who's going to go toe-to-toe with you and you guys are going to box the lights out of each other or try to knock each other out versus somebody whose main goal is to choke you out or to get you on the ground? Does it become more difficult trying to find find some kind of way to dominate in your style because he's not even looking to kind of strike with you?
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. I mean that's the great thing about mixed martial arts, man,
Right.
is we think we know that, Paddy's more of a grappler, I'm more of a striker, or Charles Oliveira is more of a grappler or not a striker as much, but you never really know until you get into the confines of competition, right? And you're in the moment and you're just fighting in the middle of the octagon. So yeah, man, every fight is different, and I'm really focusing about 80% on myself. How do I make myself into the most dangerous I possibly can be? And we know what Paddy brings to the table. He's got some great grappling. He tries to stay on the outside, especially against a pressure fighter like me. We saw it in the Jared Gordon fight, which the vast majority of the people think that Paddy lost that fight. Jared's a training partner of mine. I trained with him this morning. So we're having some conversations. I'm going to put the pressure on him. I'm going to get him on his back foot. I'm going to make him second guess his existence inside of the UFC top 10. And we're going to see how he handles it. Does he sink? Does he swim? We don't know. All I know is I'm throwing bombs.
You're always that's what we know. There's never been a boring
Guys,
Michael Chandler fight.
Throw bombs. Hey, spoiler alert! I'm gonna throw bombs.
Yeah,
Michael, how is it? Just I guess being back on a regular fight schedule. Everybody knows the Conor thing was a long wait for you. You finally decided to get back into it. So now being on all right, I'm going to fight in 5 months type of deal. Does that feel more in routine? Even though you're a guy who stays in great shape, does it feel better to be back on a normal schedule?
It does, yeah. And I've always been the kind of guy, man. I live this sport, man. I live a champion lifestyle. Even when I don't have a target, don't have a date, don't have a goal in mind, my goal is to make myself the happiest, the healthiest, and the hardest to kill at all times. So I'm always training. But yeah, obviously we sat out a little bit waiting for the Ultimate Fighter 31 to finish with me and Conor fighting. Signed, he pulls out of the fight. But to remind people to give them a little bit of recollection, I signed with the UFC in September of 2020 and was the backup in October, fought January, May, November. I mean, I fought 5 fights in a 24-month period. So I've always been busy. And this is no different. I was disappointed when I lost to Charles Oliveira in November at Madison Square Garden. The only way to get past the disappointment is to get back on the horse. Right. I wasn't going to sit around. Sometimes an imperfect plan executed now is much better than a perfect plan executed down the road. I just want to stay busy. I want to stay active, and I want to keep on being true to my word of exactly who I am. The most entertaining fighter on the UFC roster. Everybody at the Kaseya Center will be on the edge of their seats or most likely on their feet while I'm fighting because I'm going to finish Paddy Pimblett.
One more before we get you out of here. Just got to know, out of all of the 2 years you watch, because you do live the lifestyle, when you watch Conor McGregor behave the way that he has out of the octagon, was there ever a video, a moment, anything where you're just like, are you mother bleeping kidding me? This is how he's acting in the cage right now. This is never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, no, not really, because, Conor is a very unique individual, and he's always acted like that. He's been acting like that since as long as any of us can remember. So just because a man is kind of a little bit crazy outside of the octagon doesn't mean he's not going to come back. And the other thing is too, it's like, well, hey, he's on his yacht. He's obviously not focused on fighting. It's like, well, hey, if you had a yacht, wouldn't you be on your yacht if you didn't have a fight booked? So I would just look at it like that. People can make fun of me all they want. It's fine. I wanted a little bit of time off, to be honest with you. Like I said, I got shot out of a cannon in October of 2020. In October of 2020, and then fought all these fights, fought all these top contenders. I wasn't afraid to take a little bit of time off to let my body heal a little bit and just get that yearning back for the sport. And I did. Obviously, I fell short in November against arguably, the guy who is going to fight for the title next, Charles Oliveira. So we'll see, man. I'm excited to go out and compete, and I'm excited that it's in Miami. Everybody get your tickets, man, because it is going to be an absolute blast of a show.
You would still be on the yacht throwing bombs though, and shadow boxing.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. I don't know if I'd be in my underwear on a stationary bike like he was and taking videos of it, but we'll see.
So Michael, like, you've been in the fight game a long time. After a fight, can you tell when you need a longer break? Like, can you just tell throughout, you're preparing for all these fights and if they would have asked you to fight, you would have fought.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, can you tell and can you go to your people and say, I need a break here. I've been going at it too long.
Yeah, life leaves you clues, man.
Yeah.
There's breadcrumbs everywhere, man. Like it's like, if you're in a training camp and you don't have that fire when you wake up, or the body's feeling a little run down, or you're just not 100% motivated like you should be. That's a clue that, hey man, maybe you need to just take a step back, because it's completely okay to realize that in a lot of different areas in our life, absence does make the heart grow fonder, right? So just being pulled away, having the sport taken away from me for the better part of a year and a half before I got back into a training camp to fight Charles Oliveira, in a lot of ways was tough, but in a lot of ways it was really, really good. I spent a ton of time with my family, dated my wife a lot more, made some great money outside of just getting punched in the face, and took advantage of a lot of opportunities, man. So it was good. It
Body
was just
feels refreshed now. Your
yeah,
body feels like I'm ready.
body felt refreshed, man, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to go out there and prove that I still got a lot of gas left in the tank in Miami.
We're looking forward to it. Get out of there. Get out there, South Florida. Tickets available now at the Casella Center, UFC 314, April 12th. And if you can't make it out there, ESPN Plus pay-per-view as well. Michael Chandler, thanks for the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Michael.
Appreciate you, boys. See you at the
All right.
top.